Arizona Science is supported by Research Corporation for Science Advancement.
For Arizona Public Media, I'm Leslie Tolbert, Regents Professor Emerita in Neuroscience at the University of Arizona, and this is Arizona Science. Our guest today is Michael Coons, Associate Professor in the university's Immunobiology Department. Mike studies how our immune systems work. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You study how the cells of our immune system do the work to ward off potentially dangerous invaders such as bacteria and so on. In broad terms, how do the cells of the immune system organize themselves to fight infection?
As jawed vertebrates, all of us have an innate immune compartment and an adaptive immune compartment. And the innate immune cells are all throughout your body. They're positioned at the ready to survey your tissues for an insult and for the presence of a microbial infection. And so they're sentinels in your first line of defense. And the B cells are probably what many people have heard a lot about in recent years because that's what we're trying to prime with vaccines against COVID. And the T cells provide a lot of the critical help for that response. Now, T cells typically come in two flavors, CD8 positive T cells and CD4 positive T cells. And the CD8 T cells can be thought of as ground troops. They'll go in and really kill an affected cell. CD4 T cells are more like your field generals. They're what tell many cells in the immune system what to do. They'll tell the killer T cells to go kill. They'll tell the B cells to make antibodies. They'll even tell the innate immune cells, all right, you go out and eat, get ready to do X, Y, or Z. So it's a pretty complex and orchestrated system where these cells are constantly talking with each other in order to be sure that the right response is mounted at the right time and in the right place.
So there's this army of cells always there to fend off invaders that might be dangerous.
Yeah.
So tell us about the particular T cells that you work on.
Well, we work on these CD4 positive T cells, these field generals. And what we're trying to understand is exactly how they talk to the other cells in the body. We're looking in particular at the molecules they use to talk to other cells. So we think about them like molecular machines, where there are different components, and those components have to fit and work together to get information from the junction between one T cell, a CD4 T cell, and another immune cell, and relay it inside the T cell to tell it what to do.
Are you trying to engineer T cells to do specific things that provide particular functions for the immune system?
In our basic science, what we try and do is take these molecular machines apart to figure out how they work and get sort of nature's blueprint for how these evolved and how they were built. And then in our translational work, what we're trying to do is say, well, can we take what we know about the way the system evolved, and can we build new molecular machines that may redirect a T cell to execute some new function?
What you're doing is also applicable to cancer. These cells can attack cancer cells. Is that right?
There has been a revolution in immunotherapy in the last several years in which people who studied the basic science of how T cells got activated were then able to say, well, we know how T cells get activated and how they're kept in check. Now that we know these basic fundamental rules, we can start to sort of push on the gas pedal or relieve the brake pedal or build something new that could redirect that T cell function.
And you can do this because cancer cells have on their surfaces particular molecules that say, I'm a cancerous cell?
In particular cases, yes. And so when we talk about the T cells communicating with other cells, what happens is the T cell now looks at the target cell and it says, okay, something's not right with that cancerous cell, but for reasons of this braking system, that's kept in check and the cancer is allowed to escape the immune system. But if you block the brakes, now the T cell can go and mount a response and kill the tumor in certain instances.
Well, thanks very much for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Dr. Michael Coons is an associate professor in immunobiology and an expert in the key cellular mechanisms that control our immune responses. You can listen to this and all Arizona Science conversations at azpm.org/Arizona Science. I'm Leslie Tolbert.
Thank you to Research Corporation for Science Advancement for their support of Arizona Science.